have been started by engineers, technicians, and we were first ones to learn about new technology, new service, and we started deploying it to the customers. So usually we offered things to users. And then all of a sudden some people came out and said, hey, shouldn't we ask users what they actually need and what they actually want, services and infrastructure? One of such people is Karolina Horvatincic. She is in charge of customer relationship management in CARNet, and her job actually is to try to find out, to figure out what customers really need and want, and how CARNet should adjust the services and adjust the way things are done. Karolina?
So, hello everyone. Well, when I entered after the break this room, it was interesting for me to see how many women I can see, because in the morning it was a woman in every second year, one woman per year, and now more than half of you are women. And recently I read in a book, Why Men Don't Listen and Women Cannot Read Maps. Well, we all know that's not the truth. There are no one unique truth, but it's interesting really to see the preferences. We'll reach that during the presentation a little bit. Well, in the next 20 minutes I would like to talk. Oh, it doesn't work, so I have to be here because I have lots of slides. About key factors for good user support system. Some steps should be considered during the process of developing the system. I will share experience in CARNet about finding out what users want. Very important collaboration and feedback, and some principles to look at. And now I need to start with a good user support system. How to define a good user support system? Well, the system is good if it helps us, National Research and Education Network, to achieve our goals, and if our users are satisfied. So both things need to be fulfilled, and so if we want to reach our goals, we have to ask ourselves, what about our vision? What is our strategy? Why are we here? And the whole organization needs to be user-oriented. Considering the time, these two things are on an opposite side. You can write the vision and mission in a very short time. I wonder how many of your organization, how many of you have organization with mission and vision? Is only one? More? Well, good starting point. And how many of you are successful in achieving your goals in everyday work and in everyday activity? Less. Because it takes time. It really takes years to be user-oriented organization. It's not enough just to have some words. You have to change people behavior and their opinion upon users, especially us with electrotechnical background and engineers. So to talk about mission, I will talk from my experience. Vision of CARNet is to see Croatia in the future as a society of knowledge. And the mission of CARNet is development of advanced ICT infrastructure for academic and research network, and to have different contents and services. So this part, most of us are familiar, I suppose. And why are we user-oriented network? Because we, in our mission, have also not only the infrastructure and content, but also our duty is to improve work and life through the application of ICT technology by introducing the possibilities, providing help in the process of usage. So we want that infrastructure to be used too. And also we give support to knowledge dissemination. This conference is one of the activity, information exchange, as well as support for those who want to create content accessible via net. So this kind of mission helps us to build a good user support. What does it mean, user-oriented organization? It means that not only people who work with users, for example, people on help desk or trainers, need to think about users and their satisfaction. It's not reserved only for them. Every project leader, every member of executive office also has to think about users' needs and fulfilling those needs. User satisfaction should be criteria for every project and services in general. It means that it's also for technical and non-technical projects, both for research projects, for example, or promotion. And if we are user-oriented, then every service has user support. It means that we have information on the net. Well, my suggestion is put as much information on the web as you can maintain continuously. So rights, procedures, duties of users, instructions, and very important to have communication channels. Provide what you can offer with quality, for example, telephone, email. Don't do as much as is available, for example, to have chats, forums, distribution lists where you participate. All of those channels cannot be always be maintained with quality. Do those things that you have resources to provide the quality. Well, now about the process. I already mentioned that we need to start with mission and strategy, otherwise we will be lost somewhere in the space wanting to achieve something what we don't know what. Then we build the infrastructure, which has to be fast, safe, reliable. And it's very interesting, what about users' need? I mean, research network. We deal with something which is new, we discover new technology, new services. And to be honest, there is not immediately a need for that. So it's not easy to build something upon users' needs when there are no recognition of that yet. So first, our duty is to recognize, anticipate those needs, then to design a system, have examples, to show those examples, promote them, give services, build a user support, but at the same time be able to adjust that design according to the feedbacks. This step, measure quality and listen to the users, is a critical point. All our efforts needs to be questioned. If is it worth of trying? If it's useful for our users? Is it the quality good for our users? So I'll talk about that more in the presentations, but all of that is necessary only if we can react. So if we listen to the users, have feedback, collaborate among employees, and we act, and we improve ourselves, in all these steps we can make improvements, then this makes sense. So we do have a mission in CARNet. We do have customer-oriented network. We try to be better. I told you it takes years. Most of our people are engineers, so we have preferences for technology, not relationship and listening, but it can be reached. So we have contact points for different group of users. This system I'm talking about in the next 2 slides is built upon our vision and upon users' needs. So we have help desk for end users, member service department. This is a service who deals with institutions connected to CARNet as a key users. Then we have a service for contact points for administrators of CARNet modem entrance, which is distributed on the institutions. We have help desk for system engineers. We have also the contact for all users if they want to comment services, the quality, or have suggestions to improvements. It's comment at CARNet HR. Information distribution system is also very important by two reasons. First, of course, when you know what to expect, then the possibility for users to be unsatisfied is lower. Always, we will have always users who are not satisfied, but at least if they know that in 2 days from now the network is not going to be available from 1 to 3, for example, because of some reconstructuring or some interventions, then they will know that and they will not expect different. This is also the way how can we promote their services and raise up awareness of those services. Referral educational center, I suppose we are all familiar with education and how necessary it is, and people want to deal with education. Referral centers for new things. For example, we have now referral centers for multimedia, distance learning. People like to have examples, information about where to find software, under what conditions, to have people whom to contact, and so on. Dissemination of knowledge through user conference. We are all here because of that, I suppose. Special events, lectures, support for pilot projects, and promotion. All this existed in CARNet from the very beginning of the CARNet. And it's interesting that all these things actually expand. People, knowledge, and skills are rising, and that's why they have more needs. And if we listen to them, we have to expand our activities. And if we are successful, it's interesting how they actually evaluate these activities with higher marks. When we started our annual service with member institutions, promotion was very low. Now they recognize it. When we introduced the desktop video conference, for example, on a scale from 1 to 5, the mark for importance of that service was 2.9, and web and email were about 4, 8, or even 5. So today is not also so high, but it's 360. From 1997 until today, it's now in the top important activities. Those needs are changing and developing. We have to be aware of that. It's not that we design something and we're done. No, we have to see how to expand it. And now, very important, collaboration and feedback. In CARNet, we have different kinds of collecting the feedback. Well, in the beginning, to be honest with you, we waited for customers to come to us. Like, we are open, come and tell us. And what happens? Do you have experience? What happens when you just sit and wait something to come and tell you something? What happens? Or, even worse, complain. And always complain. Do we want to hear only complaints? Are we sure that those complaints is something very important to deal with? Is there something more important to customers than those things they are complaining at? That's why you have to have initiative. And we introduced annual reports to the member institutions to collect the feedback, to ask them what is good, what's not good. So we knew what are we good about it, and we felt good. But we also had, of course, some things to improve, which is good, because then we develop ourselves too. So we have questionnaires for students, interviews with professors and scientists. We also go to those institutions to see the working atmosphere. This is very important to understand the users, because we work every day with technology. It's normal for us to check email as soon as we are near our desk. It's normal, but for them not. They have, different kind of work. They have to do the studies, teaching. They have different interests, so we have to consider that too. And then a very important collaboration among employees, we have to share our experience. People react differently to different people. They talk about different things with engineers, different things with teachers, different things with people on help desk. So we have to share that experience to have the whole picture, the wider picture. Feedback is valuable only if you know what to do with that. And that's why we have to form those questionnaires in order to fulfill our needs. So this is maybe selfish, but you cannot ask your users something if you're not prepared to provide that. I can give you an example. If you ask your users, what is the best working time for help desk? This is not a good question. If you cannot provide 24 hours per day, every working day and non-working day, then don't ask that. You know, it's counterproductive. So you always have to offer what you can provide and then give them to choose. For example, do you want us to work in the morning, in the evening, or from 9 till 5, or from 8 in the morning, 8 till 8 in the evening? And then when they choose, then you can react and provide that. That's about existing services, how to expand them and introduce a new one. But if you want really honest feedback on the quality that your services provide to the users, then the question has to be opened. Don't offer them A, B, C, D, E answers. Just ask them open questions. What do you like? What can be improved? How can we be better for you? What really matters for you? That is something which then describes the language of the language of users. Actually helps you to understand. The listening part in all the process is very important, and this is a skill. I don't know how of you like to assume what the users think, or your colleagues. It's hard to resist, like, I know what they need. They want faster network, safer network. And yes, they want that. You're right. Is that everything they want? It's interesting, in our questionnaires, more than 50% of comments were regarding the behavior of the people. Do they answer kindly? Do they answer immediately in a short period? They don't care if the network is available or not, as long as they know that in advance, so they can adjust their plans according to that. Those things are really something sensitive. You need to think about it. It's a sensitive issue. So feedback is valuable if you can react upon that. And very important principles. This is, in the end, of course, you have to segment your users. They don't have the same interests, the same background, they don't have the same language. For example, if you have contact points for system engineers, they want more technical data. And if you have a person for public relations, journalists don't like technical data. They want explanations in common words, understandable for everyone. Then it's interesting, we find out that students like to go to different places to learn. They want to go to some seminar or course into another faculty because they will see different new colleagues there, some new girls, and it's interesting for them. But professors, for example, they like to work in a familiar environment. They don't have time to go to different places. They would like that in the breaks they can jump on the seminar and then be back in the classroom again. So we consider, and now we offer also in-house courses for professors. So different kind of things you have to understand about your users. I'm sorry. Design your user experience. Well, this is difficult to explain and even more difficult to do right. I already mentioned we deal with new things. So we don't have users for those new things to ask, what do you think? So So we have to anticipate those needs. We have to be the first user. And depending on our goals, we have to envision our users. What level of knowledge, skills we want them to have? Are they going to be good in reaching the information, or also to deliver the information? Depending on that, we are building our educational system, our user support system, depending on our goals. And then again, if we listen carefully, then we can adjust that design to our users. So we have to be able to design our user's experience in advance. Work with users, not only for users. This is for advanced user-oriented network. To be able to recognize that users know less about technology, that's out of questions, but also developers know less about possible applications of that. So this is one reason for having them among us and working with us. Also, advanced user in a project team can give the user view, can help in designing user support better. I stressed out here advanced user. Of course, it has to be a user that is familiar with technology and knows the language. This is important. Communication issue comes out in those things. And also, users can promote our services more efficient than we do. For example, when I come and say, well, the video conferences are great, you have to use it. It's so many things that you can contribute from. Well, you know, the professor likes to say, you're young, you're an engineer, you work with technology every day. I'm teaching the students for 20 years. I'm old. But when he hears the same sentences from the colleague that teaches for 20 years and still recognize the good things in video conferences, then he starts to listen. Then he asks, how can I deal with that? So think about that too. So user can be our valuable partner if we can recognize that and if we can attract him to work with us. It's also a skill. And in the end, I would like to stress out some points from the presentation. It's not enough just to give connectivity. We have to have a user support. Users' needs have to be closely monitored and measured, and we have to be able to adjust ourselves upon that. And existing services are expanding because the skills and knowledge of users also grow and very fast. So that's the three things I would like to point out.
Thank you, Karolina.
Thank you very much.
Questions from the audience? Here, can we have the mic there? Karolina, ask me to go ahead.
this process between CARNet and users? Or do you contact end users directly all around the country?
You mean the content on the web only, or?
No. Contact user for checking out their needs and all the things you were talking about.
Different people do that. For example, the people who are dealing with students in special events once a year, we try to reach freshmen, they do the questionnaire with students and to see if that action event is good enough. For member services, member service department does that. And we also have a special unit who gives us some information that we cannot collect by ourselves. By ourselves, I mean the special units, for example, video conferences. They can cooperate with that unit if they need help.
But for instance, when you do annual surveys at the institutions, do you go directly to the institution or you go through CARNet coordinators at the institution?
Yes,
that was the question.
When we go to the institutions, we have a contact person on the institutions. Yeah, we go directly to the person with the name and forename. But we also want that the dean or principal gives us a sign that he actually stands behind those answers and that this is something that institution thinks, not only that person. Yes, please.
Is the CARNet contact based on the competing services of the institution, or do they belong to any other department? You were saying that you contact the CARNet person when you're doing the annual survey. Does that person belong to a very technical background, or would they be like public relations or something?
The people on that alias is one executive officer, it's me. Then we have a person from member service department, and also one from marketing and relationship unit.
I got one question. If a group of users demands a service, what is the criteria? How do you decide what wish, what expressed interest or need is high enough, valuable enough that the CARNet starts such a service?
Well, first we have to analyze that user and to see if that demand triggers them to use internet and technology in a way we would like them to use. If that helps them to become advanced user, the user that can with us achieve the goal, the mission we have, then yes. If we have enough resources to provide that with quality. Otherwise, no. No, it's important to say no to users sometimes because we are not goldfish, so we have our mission objectives too.
Thanks.
I have one comment to make and one question. Comment is that we found it very useful, just picking up your last point about involving advanced users in projects. And that's what I've made a note of. It's a good idea to take away. For some time, we've employed students as part of their training in our network operations center. They've taken a number of months employment with us, and it's been really beneficial to us. I think it has helped the students as well. They've got some good experience, but it's been very good because they bring some skills, but they also bring the perspective of users in our institutions. And so I certainly agree with what you said. The other is a question about, you mentioned annual surveys, and again, that is good feedback, but do you think that users might be suffering from what I call survey fatigue? I know my own experience is that from one of our suppliers now, already this year I have had 4 annual surveys. We're not halfway through the year and I've had 4 annual surveys. I've only answered one of them. I've told them I'm a bit annoyed. I'm not of surveys within the year. And there are lots of other surveys going on the net, on paper, over the telephone. And I do know that some of our users are getting a bit tired of answering these things, and either they don't give us perhaps their full attention, or they don't answer them fully if they are. So I'm just wondering, do you notice any fall off in the returns or in the quality of returns you're getting in annual surveys?
I would like to join this question. How do you motivate institutions to answer your survey? Why would they answer? They have too many surveys to answer. How do you motivate them?
I have some contact persons here in the audience. I also want to thank you about that example you mentioned about your students, how they can give the user perspective too. Do you want to answer the question that fulfilling the survey once a year, is it difficult to do? Now, okay, I will tell you. So it's not easy to motivate people, but we do have a good response. I believe because they actually understand that the answer will benefit and they will change something. So we improve ourselves from year into year, and the number of returned questionnaires also shows how good we are. So it's only once a year, so I suppose that's why. And another thing is we provide the infrastructure for them, also some equipment, and they applied for that. And according to the answers in survey, we understand if they need that or not. So they are willing to communicate with us.
From CARNet, so it is not hard for us to do this survey. It's only 4 pages, one for you.
Yeah, that's very important. We try to to make a short survey, not a long list, questions and answers. It's a 4 page still, but those questions are important, and we don't ask something which is not that important. We try to collect feedback in different ways, but in survey we try to be short.
Thank you. With that, I would end our formal question and answers part of the session. However, I would urge you to use the opportunity to jump to our speakers and not let them go to the lunch. Lunch is served same place as yesterday. It's served all the time. You can come anytime between now and 2, even later. Please enjoy. Thank you.